Side by Side by Monica Brown, illustrated by Joseph. What is the first thing you notice about the book's cover? Have you heard the name a girl named Dolores or a man named Cesar? In New York, there lived a little girl named Dolores who talked so fast her grandfather once said, "Dolores, you must have 7 tongues." Tongues is speaking in different languages, but do you like talking out loud? Many miles away in Arizona, there lived a little boy named Cesar who was a very good listener. Cesar listened to his mother cry when his family lost its home and they had to become migrant farm workers. Migrant is a newcomer. I know a lot of people have struggles home-wise. When Dolores was a girl, she moved to California with her mother and her brothers. She joined the Girl Scouts and worked to raise money for the soldiers fighting in World War II. Cesar's family moved to California to follow the crops and worked in the field. Although he had dropped out of school to work, Cesar always had a book under his arm. Although I'm reading some, don't listen. From her mother, Dolores learned to think of others when poor farm workers' families had no places to sleep. Dolores' mother would let them stay in the hotel for free. Wow, Dolores and her mother are very, very kind people. Life for Cesar's family was difficult. All day they bent over the hot sun picking lettuce, strawberries, and grapes. There was never enough water to drink out in the fields. Have you ever worked in a farm or a farm-like area? Dolores grew up to become a teacher. She saw the farm workers' children come to school cold and barefoot, too hungry to learn as well as they could. When Cesar grew up, he and his friends were hurt by many dangerous tools that the mean bosses who sprayed the plants with poisons made the farm workers sick. Then something special happened. Dolores and Cesar met. Dolores saw that Cesar had great faith in his dreams. He would bring hope to thousands of farm workers. Cesar and Dolores had great courage. She would stand up for what's right. Side by side, Dolores and Cesar began their journey. Dolores and Cesar drove from town to town, standing on the back of the flatbed trucks and inviting farm workers to join La Causa, the cause for justice. Together they demanded a better living and working conditions for the farm workers. Cesar and Dolores asked people to stop buying grapes from California because the poisons and growers used were making their workers sick. People listened, and the grapes rotten on the veins. The farm workers won. They got a safer place to work, and the grapes became safer for people to eat. Cesar led many Cesar led men and women and children on a 340-mile march to demand the workers get paid enough to live on. They arrived on the Sacramento, California, April 10th, Dolores' birthday. Dolores gave an amazing speech. The people there were heard. The girl workers signed the contract with the workers, giving them a better pay for their hard work. It was time for the farm workers to share their harvest. Though they each had a large family, little food, and no money, when Dolores and Cesar sat down at the kitchen table, they always looked for ways to make the world a better place. If we don't help the farm workers, as Cesar asked Dolores, who will? When the girl workers and politicians who When the growers and the politicians wouldn't listen, Cesar stopped eating for 36 days, so that the others would understand how important it is to protect the workers. And when their bosses bullied them, the workers used to say, we can't win. But with the help of Dolores, they began to chant, "Si se puede," yes, we can. Politicians is someone who is a representative. For 36 years, Dolores and Cesar worked, and listened, and talked, and marched side by side. Dolores and Cesar worked to help families stay together. They fought past immigration in 1986 that helped more than 1 million immigrants become the United States citizens. Dolores and Cesar had many victories because they grew that together all things were possible. They knew that Dolores had many victories because they knew that together all things were possible. Migration. Someone who moves from one place to another. In 1993, Cesar passed away, and Dolores and the farm workers marched to honor him. Dolores still works and marches for justice for the poor, and she's not alone in the spirit of Cesar. Chavez is by her side. I'm so glad they fought for what's right. What do you think about these two people that the book was written about? What do you think they fought for? Are you glad they did what they did? The end.